Well, the California DMV has canceled 13,000 commercial driver's licenses. Officials saying the action affects certain non-domiciled drivers, defined as people who do not have U.S. citizenship or lawful permanent resident status, including some visa holders, refugees, and asylees. Newsmax correspondent Heather Myers joins us from San Diego. Heather.
The California DMV tried everything it could to fight this, from filing multiple lawsuits to missing critical deadlines. Well, now 13,000 California truckers have had their commercial driver's licenses revoked, and now they even have to reapply to get a license to drive a regular car. The revocation of these commercial driver's licenses is part of the Trump administration's effort to make the roads safer. The Department of Transportation says last year, at least 30 people died in 17 crashes caused by non-domiciled drivers across the nation. Those are non-citizen drivers, including refugees, asylum seekers, and in some cases, illegal immigrants. In California, 2 of those deadly crashes happened in October. Shocking dashcam video from a semi-truck in Ontario, California, shows a 21-year-old illegal immigrant driver slamming into the back of multiple cars, causing 3 deaths and multiple injuries. The Trump administration says one of the main problems is that states can screen U.S. drivers through national databases for past violations, but they don't have the ability to access the records of foreigners. During last month's State of the Union address, the president invited Delilah Coleman and her father to be recognized. Delilah was only 5 years old when a semi-truck slammed into her family's car on a California highway.
The driver was an illegal alien let in by Joe Biden and given a commercial driver's license by open borders politicians in California.
But in response to pulling the licenses, the director of the California DMV shot back, saying in a statement, quote, "This federal administration is using their war on immigration to remove qualified, hardworking commercial drivers from our workforce who meet language and safety rules. There are no guarantees that additional solutions will become available to help these drivers." Just last month, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said that truckers across the nation will have to take their driver's license tests in English only in order to make sure that they understand the road signs and can communicate with law enforcement. In California, previously that test was offered in 20 different languages. Reporting in San Diego, I'm Heather Myers, Newsmax.
Heather, thank you so much. Joining me now is host of the Leventhal Report, my good friend Rick Leventhal. Rick, thanks for joining the Pulse this evening, my brother. You know, federal investigators say that more than 25% of California's non-domiciled commercial licenses have been issued unlawfully. Now, that is a staggering number. How do you think this all happened in the first place?
David, great to see you. Woke policies, a need to placate all of the illegals who shouldn't be in this state in the first place. Did you hear what Heather said? The driver's license test was offered in 20 languages. So one of those California licensed drivers, truck drivers, down in Florida, killed 3 people on the Florida Turnpike making an illegal U-turn. He couldn't read road signs and couldn't speak English, and he was apparently high and hammered. And he was like 21 years old. So they're just giving licenses to illegals who can't speak the language, can't read road signs, and we're supposed to feel sorry for them. No. Our highways, our byways, they need to be safe. And if people want to get a driver's license, they should be U.S. citizens, and they should have to pass a test in English. I don't think that's asking too much, just like it's not asking too much to have people show an ID before they vote.
Yeah, it's not asking too much unless you're asking Democrats, apparently. Now, the Department of Transportation says that there were 17 fatal crashes and 30 deaths in 2025 linked to non-domiciled drivers. Who do you think Californians are blaming for this?
You know, that's a good question, and I don't know the answer, but I do know that the system needed to change. Apparently it is changing, thanks to President Trump, who threatened the state if they didn't stop giving driver's licenses to illegals who couldn't speak English. And the state is revoking, as you heard, many thousands of those licenses, and anybody who wants to try and get one is going to have to take a tougher test, which is the way it always should have been. You know, it's common sense, which kind of goes out the window, especially here in California. There are so many things that the state has done that we all kind of shake our heads about. And I'm a relatively new resident here. I do love living here, David, but the politics and the policies often leave me just wondering who's running the store. And when you look at the governor's mansion, I mean, the answer is pretty obvious.
Yeah, I love California, born and raised in California, California kid. Didn't leave because of the policies, but I understand why a lot of people do. It is driving people mad and driving people out of California. Let's talk about Gavin Newsom for a moment, though. An NBC News poll released this week shows that Gavin's favorability is underwater with voters, with only 27% of those surveyed holding a positive view of him. He's also reportedly launching a $19 million marketing campaign through the end of his term to, he says, dispel misinformation about California. How do you think that he could even dream of a successful presidential run in 2028?
You know, I had Tom Baccaro as a guest on my show last hour, and he said those numbers need to be flipped. You need at least a 45% approval rating and a less than 30% negative rating if you're going to run for president of the United States. And if you're going to run on your record, all anybody has to do is look at California leading the nation in unemployment and businesses leaving and the cost of living and the price of gasoline. The list is so long of the things that we're last in or woefully lacking in. They spent $24 billion on the homeless population, and homelessness has risen in California. So whatever they're doing isn't working. Gavin Newsom is so far up his own, you know what, that he doesn't perhaps even see or realize how many people see right through him. He thinks he's the cool kid. He thinks he can just, you know, smile and look good, and people are going to vote for him, and maybe some people will. But if you want a president who cares about this country, who appreciates common sense and is going to do the right thing, it's not him. And I'll be shocked if he wins the nomination.
I would be as well, but I think it'd probably be a good thing. I don't think there's any chance that enough American voters would put him in the Oval Office. Now, IRS filings show some very interesting information about Gavin Newsom's wife, Jennifer. Now, she has a nonprofit, the Representation Project, which states its mission is to challenge gender stereotypes. Okay. It also pays her a $150,000 salary while also paying another $150,000 to her private company, Girls Club LLC. So over the past decade, Jennifer and her company have reportedly received more than $3.7 million from that charity. Rick, when the spouse of a sitting governor is running a nonprofit that's paying both her personally and her own company, isn't that kind of a massive conflict of interest?
First of all, are we in Minnesota? Like, what in the world? Are you talking about fraud and waste and abuse? You're going to pay the governor's wife all that money for what? To put these ideas in little kids' heads? It's so backwards and so ridiculous. And not for nothing, but my monologue tonight, David, was about California allowing boys to compete against girls in girls' sports competitions. And sure enough, some boy who's a senior, who's a biological male, competing as a girl, he claims he's trans, won 3 more championships over the weekend and is on his way to winning the girls' long jump and triple jump and high jump as a national champion as a girl, except he's a boy. And that's happening here in California, even though the president tried to shut it down, because California is California. And Gavin Newsom is all about keeping those kinds of woke policies in place here. So my hope is that somebody with a real brain, like Steve Hilton, can kick him out of the governor's mansion and get this state back on track.
Yeah, I would love to see California back on track. Let's take a quick look at all the companies that have left under Gavin Newsom's watch. Look at this list. Oracle, Tesla, Chevron, Hewlett-Packard Enterprises, FICO, and Yamaha just announced that they were leaving California. Many are moving to Florida or Texas. Rick, what impact does this have on jobs and long-term economic growth in the state? And do you think Californians are going to think about this when it comes time to vote for your next governor?
Well, I certainly hope so. And I'll do everything I can to continue to pound these issues, because it's become very clear that California is not friendly to business. It's not friendly to residents. It has more people leaving than moving here. It has far more businesses leaving than coming here. The business climate is incredibly expensive, and it's going to get worse, David, because now with the gas prices shooting up, There are refineries here in California that are already closed or are soon to close, and more are threatening to close because of additional taxes and additional hoops they have to jump through because of environmental regulations in order to keep producing this super clean fuel that you can only burn in California. You can't burn regular gas here. You have to burn this super kind of gas that's economically friendly to the leadership in California, and it costs a lot more to produce. And since they can't produce it anymore here with all these refineries closing up, they have to import it. And the imports are more expensive because of the situation in Iran and the fact that they have to move this fuel from China and Singapore and halfway around the world. So the situation is bad.
Goodness.
It's getting worse, and somebody needs to fix it.
And that's definitely sounds like enough problems that just California has that we do not want nationwide. Another reason to not vote Gavin Newsom for president. Rick Leventhal, God bless you, brother. Thanks for joining the Pulse tonight. Always appreciate having you.
Thank you, David. Appreciate you. You too.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.